Hi, so we've got one of these stovetop fans, but unfortunately it's not working. So I think we'll get it on the bench, we'll have a quick look at it and we'll see if we can repair it. And I've just got the little three-legged cat. Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to get its leg amputated, so it's only got 3 legs. We're just fostering this one at the moment, but hopefully she'll have a new home soon. So as you can see, the fire's blazing away there, and this fan should be going round, but it's not doing anything. So let's get it on the bench, let's have a quick look and see if we can repair it. Right, so you may be wondering how these fans work, because they don't take any batteries. But what we've got, I've just got a normal electric motor here, and the cable runs down here, and we've got a device down here called a Peltier element. Now you may have came across one of these before, in these little fridges that you get, like the ones you put a couple of cans of beer in or whatever. So what happens is, you apply power to this, and what it does, it transfers heat from one side of the Peltier element to the other side. So it has the effect of one side will get hotter and one side will get colder. So if it's in a fridge, for instance, you've got a heat sink on the outside of the fridge that gets hot, and a heat sink on the inside of the fridge that gets cold. So that's how they're used in a fridge. But in this case, what we've got here, we've got 2 heat sinks. We've got a heat sink at the top, which gets cold as the fan goes, and a heat sink at the bottom, which gets hot off the fire. So as you put more heat at the bottom and cool the top down, it actually has the effect of generating electricity as well. So a bit like, you know, if you've got a little motor, you can put a battery on the motor and the motor will spin. But however, the opposite's true as well. If you spin the motor, it'll act like a generator and generate power out of the wires. So that's pretty much how they work. But what I think's wrong with this one is the Peltier element has probably failed. I think the motor's okay, because it gradually got slower and slower and slower until it wouldn't work at all. So what I'll do is I'll just get this Peltier element, I'll connect it up to a test meter, and I'll show you exactly what I meant by how it generates power. So we'll just put this to one side, and I'll just wrap these wires around my meter probes here, and we'll put the meter onto volts DC. So if I heat this side up, we can see it's actually creating a negative voltage. So this is the cold side, which has got the writing on here. If I flip it over and I start warming this side up, we can see we're actually generating voltage there. I mean, if I were to put the Rework station on, you'd see it jump up a lot quicker. There you go. And you can see as it cools down, the voltage drops. So just the wire came off there. So that's pretty much how they work. So what I'll do, I'll swap this one over and then we'll see if it repairs the fan, which I think it probably will do. So I've got a Phillips head screw there and a Phillips head screw just down here. So let's remove those. Let's put some thermal compound on this. Right, there we go, that's that off. So the heat side we want to go down, so I'll just get a bit thermal compound there, and I'll just put some on here. One moment please. Right, I've got some thermal compound there. I'm just going to give this heatsink a bit of a clean off. I'll get some of this thermal compound on. Something a bit like that. And I'll put some on the top. I should have some kind of spreader really, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Right, I'm just going to clean that part off. Right, let's screw this back together then. It should be a nice quick easy repair, this one. I'm just going to get this centered slightly. I'll just Just move it a little bit down there so I can get this other screw in. Right, so I just need a couple of these wires up to these ones now. So I think what I'll do, I'll just cut this off. I'll just get rid of that for now. And we can just test the motor as well. I'll just hook that up with a bench power supply. I'll just check that the motor's working, but I'm fairly sure it'll be this Peltier element. Right, let's switch the bench power supply on. There we go. Right. I'll just go and grab a bit of heat shrink just to put on these wires. You may be able to hear the wind howling outside there. It's not a very nice night at all. Right, let's tin these wires. I'm not sure if these ones are oxidised off the heat off the fire. It looks like they are. Add a bit more solder to those ones. Right, so that should be it. So I thought we'd try a little experiment before we test the fan. I've got another one of these Peltier elements and a large heatsink on the bottom, and I've got another large heatsink here. So I'm going to put this one on the top, and then what I'm going to do, we'll just check what the temperature is first. So about 16 degrees on the top and about the same on the bottom. Right, we'll switch the power supply on. Right, so there we go. I've got about 23 degrees or so on that one. And about 8.5 or 9 degrees on that one. So you can see it's definitely transferring heat from this side across to this heatsink. I don't think it was picking it up very good because of the emissivity, I think it's called, of the aluminium. But there you go, you can definitely see the difference there now. 34 degrees compared to 8 degrees. So something else a little bit interesting as well, because this side's still cold and this side's still warm, there's a temperature difference. So it'll actually produce electricity as well, which is how it operates the fan. So you can see there, it's actually still generating about 0.6 of a volt there. It's slowly decreasing. Right, I just thought you might find that a bit interesting. Right, so let's put it on top of the fire. Let's see if it starts doing anything. It might take a few seconds for it to start heating up and it doing anything, so I think I just seen it move ever so slightly. Yep. Hey, there we go. One fixed fan. Excellent. Right, so another little job done. I just thought it might make it a little bit of an interesting video to put together with some other videos. So there we go, fixing a stovetop fan. Right, let's go on to something else. A viewer called Paul asked would I like to have a look at this Apple Pencil. I kind of forgot about this. I've had it for about a year or so. So he sent a letter in with it and he just says, "Hi Mick, Apple Pencil enclosed." And basically what's happened is somebody has snapped the tip of it off and cracked the housing. And what he sent me is a new housing for it and some replacement tips. So let's get it out of the box and we'll have a look, see what the damage is, and we'll see if we can repair it. So I'm not really a fan of Apple stuff myself, but let's have a look. So that's the damaged part there. And there's a couple of slight cracks in the end of it. And I guess that's where the original tip has been broken off. I think I might get this under the microscope so we can get a bit better look at it. Right, I've got it under the microscope, and that's the USB-C connector there. Let's have a look at the end of it and where it's damaged. I mean, to me the casing doesn't actually look too bad. I mean, yeah, there's a couple of there's maybe one minor hairline crack there. I wonder if we can get this little bit out of the end here. Let's just try with a dental pick or something. Well, that's moving. Let's see if that'll come out. Oh, I think it's just fell out. So I wonder if a new tip will just screw on there now. That might be an easy fix then. Right, I'll just get the microscope out of the way. That's the bit of broken plastic that I managed to remove there. Let's just try and get one of these new tips out. I think that's it. Right, I think I'll charge it up and I'll get my daughter's iPad and we'll give it a test, see if it works. And so that was nice, easy fixing if that's it. Hopefully it works. Right, I'm back with the iPad. That's one of my daughter's pictures that she drew. She's quite artistic, as you can see. So let's see how you connect this thing up then. Right, I've got it connected at last. So excellent. That seems to work fine then. Right, we'll get this sent back to him and we'll move on to something else. A viewer called Mark asked would I like to have a look at this Energizer universal battery charger. And what he said was it just stopped working. He also asked us would I be able to have a look at this LED light as well. So we'll have a look at the battery charger first, then we'll have a look at this. So let's see what it's doing. Let's just plug it in. I'll just grab an extension lead. And it appears to be doing nothing. Right, let's just grab the test meter. And we'll just go into volts DC. Let's just see if the fault is in here or in the adapter. So let's just see what we'll get on this. I'm not getting anything. Let's just double check my extension lead is working. I'm just going to volts AC and don't copy what I do. Right, let's just double check the adapter again then. And we have no power coming out of it. So definitely a problem with the adapter. And it's actually got a screw on this one. Normally it's all sealed around the edge. So let's see if I can get into it. Now I don't know if this is glued still or not. No, it isn't. Right, I'll just move this bit out of the way and then we'll just zoom down a bit on this. Let's see if we can see anything. Now there may be some charge in the capacitor here, so we have to be wary of that. Looks like we've got a mains fuse here. We've got 4 diodes acting as a bridge rectifier, the smoothing capacitor, It looks like it goes through a inductor here for a little bit filtering with the capacitor. I can't see anything on the bottom that looks blown up or anything. Let's see if there's any voltage in that mains cap. Let's get the meter in shot. Well, nothing much in there, but there has been charge in there. Let's just double check that we are getting continuity from this part here to the end of the plug, just in case it's a break in the cable. So I'm just going to continuity. And it goes to that point there by the look of it. Well, that's interesting. It looks like we've got either a short in this cable or a short on the power supply, because we're getting continuity between the positive and negative wires here, and we shouldn't be. So there's either a short in this cable or in this plug somewhere, but it doesn't look overly bad. I can't see any signs of anything like that. Or there's a short on this part of the circuit here, like possibly that capacitor or that diode or something. Let's desolder one of those wires, and then that'll eliminate the cable, and then if the short still persists, we'll be to have a look on the circuit and see exactly and find out what the problem is. So I'll just zoom down a little bit. There's actually another capacitor across there as well. There's a lot of stuff in parallel here. Right, I'll try removing this cable first. We'll just check the polarity of it. So the positive wire is the one with the white stripe. Let's just see if we get a short on the cable now. And no. So the cable appears to be okay. We'll just check that we get continuity to there and not to there. Right, so that cable's fine. So the problem's actually on the power supply itself. So I've got 47 ohms. I'll just zoom out a fraction so you can see. So we've got 47 ohms across there. Now that's the rectifier diode. And it looks like we've got a short across that. Let's pull the rectifier diode out and let's see if that's the cause of it. Let's get some solder wick and let's put a little bit of flux on that. It's kind of glued on as well. Right, let's just go into diode check and we'll measure that. I don't know if I'm quite on there. Right, well the diode's okay. So not the diode. So I'm wondering if it's one of these two caps here. I'll just go on to resistance. So it doesn't appear to be there. So I wonder if it's that cap then. I think we'll remove that capacitor. Let's just try taking that off. Might have to add a little bit fresh solder to that first. And let's see if we've got a short across those 2 points now. And yes, we still do. Well, I've had it under the spyglass and I can't see anything else. And the only thing I think that's really in the circuit that could cause a short would either be this little inductor here, but that would need the two wires sort of shorted together somehow and they look okay. Or possibly the smoother capacitor, but I don't think I've ever had a smoothing capacitor show like 0 ohms before. So I'm just going to pull that out just to check it. I think a lot of this stuff's glued in. Well, that was a nightmare to get out. Doesn't look like it's the capacitor. Well, it might have been either that or when I've been heating it up there, it's caused the short to disappear because we no longer have a short there now, which we did a moment ago. So I think that capacitor had shorted out internally. I wonder what the ESR 70 gold will make of this. What is it? 470 16 volt. Right, I'll get the ESR 70 gold out. And it doesn't actually look too far out the way, that. Back with a new capacitor. Make sure we get that in the right way. I've just soldered the little capacitor back up there as well. Let's put these two wires back on. Let's see if we have it short there now then. And we don't. We've got a capacitor charging. Right. That was a bit unusual. I still think it was that capacitor. Internally shorted or something by the look of things. Now, is that the way that went together? I think it is. Right, let's pop the screw in and let's see if we get 12 volts out of it now. We've got something going on there. That doesn't look quite right, does it? Right, found the problem. I think I put the diode in the wrong way. I don't know how I managed that. I'm usually a lot more careful than that, but it just goes to show we all make mistakes. Right, let's just solder that back in. And hopefully the correct way now. Let's see if we get any power out of it now. That's a bit better. Right, where's the battery charger? Here it is. Well, hey, looks like it's charging. Right, let's have a look at this little light next. Nice, let's have a look at this then. Well, I don't know about the colour of that LED there for a start. Looks like it might have a bit of a shadow on there, so I don't know whether that LED might be blown. And that one has got a black dot in the middle of it, which is usually an indication that LEDs have blown. Looks like we've got some battery corrosion on this terminal here. And from here, I think that's the same terminal, isn't it? Yes. Looks like it might have an IC or something on the back there. Can't see any detector or anything on this. Wasn't sure whether it was like a PIR one or something. Let's try taking this board out. Looks like I have to desolder those two wires. This one might be a bit more problematic. Let's just put a bit of flux on it. That's a little boost circuit or something on the back. Well, I think the first thing I'll do is I'll tack a couple of wires on here and we'll connect it up to the bench power supply and we'll just see if this is actually working or not. I'll give this a little bit of a clean up with some IP and a cotton bud I think first as well. Try and get rid of some of this corrosion. Right, I shall just go and tack a couple of wires on this. Right, I've got hooked up the bench power supply. I've got 5 volts at 200 milliamps. Looks like there's a bad connection in the switch there, and that LED has indeed failed. So a bit switch cleaner, and I think a replacement LED needed. Right, I'll just go and see what I can find. Well, I had a look around for surface mount LEDs, and the only ones I could find that I had lying around was off this old Chefman display board, and these are still white LEDs. So what I've done, I've desoldered the original LED and just soldered the through hole one onto the circuit board here. I've just given the switch a quick squirt with some switch cleaner, and there we go. So that appears to be working now. So I think I might just need to clean up these terminals and solder the wires back on, so I shall do that now. I've soldered a new wire on the back, and I've cleaned all the battery terminals up. So I've just got one battery to go in there now. Let's just see if it switches on. Let's say yes. So let's just pop the top on, and we'll call that one a fix. So another little job done. Right, on to something else. A viewer called Rob asked would I be to have a look at this Teltonika RUT-X50 industrial router. Now Rob's also a fellow YouTuber, and he's got a channel that does live streaming aviation stuff, and he uses it for his live streams. So he's in a bit of a jam, and what he's done is he's snapped off one of the SMA connectors, I think those are. So he asked would I be able to help him out and see if I can repair this. And I'm not sure if he's damaged any of the traces on the PCB as well. So I think we'll take it apart, we'll have a look and see if we can repair it. I'll just bring Rob's channel up on the screen just while I'm disassembling this, so you can have a look if you're interested. Right, let's see if we can get into this thing then. So I'm going to start removing these screws at the back. Let's try the ones on the front as well then. I'm not sure how this actually comes apart. Well, there's the front off. I might have to remove that screw as well. Let's try removing that. I'll get the board to slide out the front here. Right, and it looks like one of the traces has been damaged slightly as well. And just here. So it looks like we've got a missing pad. And possibly the pads are being ripped off at the side here as well. But hopefully we should be able to resolder that. There should be enough material left, I think. I'm not sure if it, maybe even solder it on the bottom here as well, so that should be okay. But we might have to just put a little bit wire or something to try and repair this pad here, so I might have to bring the microscope in for this one. Let's have a look at the connector. Just get it out of its little bag here. Yeah, we can see, it looks like the remains of the pad still attached to the connector here. Oh, we should just be able to jump at that with a bit of wire or something, I think. Let's just try and get it roughly back in place first. I'm not sure how well that's going to go. Right, let's see if this board will separate from the actual other board. It looks like it's on a connector there. Right, so that's the broken one there. So I think what I'll do, the thermal pad just came off there. We'll solder this up first to keep it in place, and then we'll have a look at fixing the track. I'm just doing a little repair on the track. Right, so I think that should do for the bottom. Let's see if we can reinforce the top a bit. I think these are quite expensive units when I've looked online. I think they're around £400 each. So not a cheap bit of kit. Right, I'll get the microscope set up for the next bit. Right, got the microscope set up. And you can see there where we've got the bit of track missing. So what we need to do is put a bridge from here to maybe that point there. Looks like there's supposed to be a couple of capacitors, or an option to fit a couple of capacitors there. There is. So that's what I'll have a go doing now then. So I think I'll put some leaded solder on this connection point first. Maybe a bit awkward to try and get the iron in. Right, I'm just going to add a little bit of flux to that. Add a little bit of solder to that as well. Right, I'll see if I can cut that bit off. The colours are huge compared to this. This still doesn't look like we've got it soldered properly. We'll cut this off first, and then I'm going to try and solder it again. Right, so after a lot of mess on, I've managed to get it sorted. I had to take the connector back off because I think it was sitting over slightly to one side. I was actually closer to this side than what it is. That's why I took it back off, reorientated it slightly, and then put it on, and then soldered it to that resistor there. Let's just check if I get continuity from there to here. Yes, we do. So I guess this is repaired then. I haven't got the antennas to test it though, so I'll have to leave that down to Rob and get some feedback off him. Right, I've just managed to get the board back in with the thermal pad under there. And there's the connector I've just replaced. So let's get the screws back in, and then I'll get it back to them. There's a little earth connector, I think. A little earthen screw rather. Right, I'll get that box back up, get it sent back to him, and we'll find out if it worked or not. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't, so hopefully it's all good. Well, I hadn't heard anything off Rob for a few weeks, so I thought I'd drop him an email to see how he was getting on. And the unit I repaired actually worked fine, but he's since broke another unit, it seems. But he's actually managed to repair that one himself, so another successful fix. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little compilation of fixes there. So if you did, please give it a big thumbs up. If you want to see more like it, please subscribe. Any comments or questions, please leave it in the comment section below. And as always, have a great day. Thanks for watching.